with the Christmas Eve lunchtime news, Ben Boulos.
Today, details of a draft deal to end the war in Ukraine. President Zelensky says he's open to the plan, which has been negotiated with the US and is currently being reviewed by Moscow. Also on the programme, renewed calls for Andrew Mountbatten Windsor to cooperate with American authorities after thousands more Epstein files were released. Doctors urge pregnant women to get their flu jab after a rise in the number of severe cases this winter. And we'll keep you up to date with where in the world Father Christmas and his sleigh are as the Santa Tracker turns 70. Hello and welcome to the BBC News at 1. President Zelensky has revealed the details of a new 20-point peace plan to end the war in Ukraine. The draft deal, negotiated with the United States, offers Russia the potential withdrawal of Ukrainian troops from the east of the country. Our correspondent Samira Hussein is in Kyiv. Samira, what more do we know about the details of this plan?
Previously, any kind of land negotiations were just not on the table. But now President Zelensky is really signaling a willingness to talk about the eastern Donbas region. Specifically, he wants to see a demilitarized zone that is created and monitored by peacekeepers. And the front lines as is would be the demarcation. Another possibility that is up for discussion is creating a free economic zone. But there are several caveats in order for that to be in place, says President Zelensky, including a retreat from the entire Donbas region by Ukraine and Russia. Have a listen to what he had to say.
We are working actively, doing everything necessary to ensure that the documents come to fruition and that they're realistic. The key is that Russia must not sabotage this diplomacy and must take ending the war 100% seriously. If it doesn't, then additional pressure on Russia must follow. The world has all the instruments needed to make that pressure effective and ensure that peace is achieved.
Now the ball is in Russia's court as we wait for some kind of reaction to this 20-point plan. However, it's important to remember that Russia has never, ever given any indication of any kind of retreat from the entire eastern Ukraine.
Okay, Samira, thank you very much. Russian authorities say 2 police officers have been killed by an explosion in Moscow. They were trying to arrest a suspect who also died when he detonated a device near a police car. The incident follows the fatal car bombing of a Russian army general in Moscow on Monday. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor is facing renewed calls to cooperate with American authorities after the release of thousands more files related to the convicted paedophile, the late Jeffrey Epstein. Among them is an email thought to be from the former Duke of York asking about, quote, inappropriate friends. He has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing. Alison Freeman reports.
Another release of documents and more questions raised about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and his relationship with the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. More specifically, what he was doing on trips in his role as trade envoy. In an email, which appears to be from the former prince to Ghislaine Maxwell in 2001, the sender, who is signed as A, asks, "Have you found me some new inappropriate friends?" Maxwell replies she's only been able to find appropriate friends. Months later, emails again appearing to be between the two discuss an upcoming trip to Peru. An email from a tour guide asking about the girls, how old is he, is forwarded to A. He replies, "As for the girls, well, I'll leave that entirely to you and Juan Esteban." There's no evidence of criminal activity in these exchanges.
These were on taxpayer-funded trips to promote British trade. These weren't holidays. So I would like 2 things. One is a full parliamentary investigation into Andrew's time as a trade envoy from 2001 to 11. And also all the papers relating to that period to be released. I spent 4 or 5 frustrating years trying to get the government here to release anything. At least we've got something from the States.
The Epstein files have been released in the name of transparency, but much of the material has been heavily redacted, something that's been criticised by Epstein survivors.
It is very simple. Redact our names and unredact the powerful, the elite men that are out there and that are continuing to doing these horrible things to these women they have done it to us, and they will continue to do so. Please look at us as your children.
You seem utterly convinced you're telling the truth. Would you?
Andrew Mountbatten Windsor said in a BBC interview in 2019 that he would be willing to cooperate in an FBI investigation into Epstein if advised to do so by lawyers. He's repeatedly denied any wrongdoing.
Why would he be unwilling to help them to achieve their goal of truth and transparency? The silence from Andrew is deafening, and I really feel it's inexcusable for a former member of royalty.
With Christmas Day and the King's speech almost upon us, these new documents will no doubt be an unwelcome distraction for the royals. Alison Freeman, BBC News.
Bethlehem is marking Christmas for the first time in 3 years. The city is in the occupied West Bank, where all public celebrations were suspended after Israeli troops entered Gaza in 2023. The recent ceasefire prompted a decision to hold them again, with a focus around the giant Christmas tree in Manger Square. The 13-year-old boy, understood to be British and named locally as Alfie Hallett, has been stabbed to death in Portugal. Authorities there say he was attacked by his mother's former partner in the city of Tomar. Doctors and midwives are urging pregnant women to get vaccinated against the flu. They are among the most vulnerable to the illness this winter, along with newborn babies, and the jab offers protection for both. Our reporter Tim Muffet has the details.
Even though the rise in the number of flu infections appears to be levelling off, there's a warning and a plea from midwives and doctors. Pregnant women should get the flu vaccine as soon as possible, they say, as the impact of flu can be much worse on them and newborn babies. Royal colleges representing more than 90,000 health professionals have come together to deliver their message. The Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, the Royal College of Midwives, and the Royal College of Paediatrics and Child Health are urging pregnant women to talk to their maternity teams or their GP, adding that even later on in the flu season, the vaccine still offers vital protection.
It's really important for pregnant women to get the flu jab. When you're pregnant, your immune system is not as robust as it is when you're not. So that means if you do get the flu, even if you're young and healthy, you're more likely to have complications, sometimes bronchitis, sometimes things that mean you need to end up in hospital. The flu jab is safe. We've been using it for over a decade and people have been fine having it. And the other benefit is for baby, it helps baby's immune system be stronger as well. So when they're born, they carry some of that protection from their mom, and it stops them from becoming as unwell if they encounter the flu virus.
A type of seasonal flu called H3N2 comes around every winter. But this summer it acquired 7 new mutations, which seems to make it better at evading our immune defences, and that led to the flu season beginning earlier than usual in the UK and other countries. This afternoon, the latest flu statistics are due to be released, so we should get a clearer picture of where things stand. Data released last week suggests the initial steep rise in infections was starting to stabilise. Flu, though, can be unpredictable, and the advice to pregnant women is clear: to get vaccinated as soon as possible. Pregnant women are more likely than the general population to suffer complications from flu, whilst babies are more likely to be admitted to hospital. Tim Muffet, BBC News.
The England cricket captain Ben Stokes has admitted this is the most difficult spell of his captaincy, as his England team face more allegations of heavy drinking during the Ashes tour in Australia. The 4th test gets underway tomorrow night, with England having already lost the series. Our sports correspondent Andy Swiss has more.
England's players looked relaxed as they trained in Melbourne, but it's their relaxation off the pitch that's been attracting headlines.
Ben Duckett
Reports of excessive drinking and a video appearing to show batter Ben Duckett slurring his words during a tour trip to Queensland earlier this month. But as Duckett practiced with the rest of the players today, their captain called for empathy with his squad under the spotlight.
My main thing right now as England captain is making sure that everyone's okay. And you know, I know firsthand what this can actually make you feel like. You know, this is probably the toughest time right now as an England captain that I'll have, but you know, I ain't gonna run away from it.
The players' behaviour during that beach break is now being investigated by England. Their travelling fans have some sympathy, but it's limited.
It doesn't look good when we're 3-0 down. That's the problem. If we were 3-0 up, it'd be fine, wouldn't it?
To let the hair down one night can be expected. Not every night.
Not every night, no.
But just
we can do every night. Give them
a bit of leeway. Yeah, give them a bit of leeway.
And in another blow for England, they'll be without the injured Jofra Archer. 3-0 down and missing their star player. They'll be hoping this ill-fated tour can't get any worse. Andy Swiss, BBC News.
For the last 70 years, children all over the world have been watching Santa on his rounds on Christmas Eve with the help of the NORAD tracker. But few people know that it all began with a simple misprint on a US department store advert back in the 1950s. Our reporter Fiona Landon has the story.
Whether you know him as Father Christmas, Santa, or even St. Nick, many of us have been busy making sure our wish lists were in on time.
To Santa, please get me some roller skates and a Merry Christmas. To Santa, can I have roller skates and a Lego set?
It looks like Santa is delivering presents to the good boys and girls of Shanghai, China.
With Christmas now just hours away, trackers around the world are keeping a very close eye on Father Christmas as he makes his way across the globe.
NORAD is able to keep pinpoint accuracy on the heat signature from Rudolph's nose.
And over in the United States, their Aerospace Defense Command is once again using its radar and satellites to chart his progress. A tradition that's been going strong for 70 years. It all began back in 1955 with a simple typo. A department store placed a newspaper advert inviting children to phone Santa, but the number was misprinted, directing callers instead to the Air Defense Command.
This is Colonel Schaub, the commander of the Combat Alert Center. Who's this? Well, now the little voice is crying. I said, well, is this one of Santa's helpers then? Dad finally figured out, oh, this must really be a kid. So he said, ho, 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 this is not one of Santa's helpers. This is Santa Claus. And so the kid was, oh, thank goodness. And told him, gave him his whole Christmas list. And he said, could you bring something nice for my mommy?
And ever since, for the last 7 decades, this team has been helping children track Santa using their radar.
We have our aircraft and our radars and our satellites all positioned to track. Santa's very cooperative with us. We have pilots who have been next to him, and he'll give a wave, but he doesn't really need our help navigating. He's an expert aviator, probably the best we've seen.
Mince pies, a glass of milk. We get a special plate and we put reindeer food on the floor, and then we get some mince pies and we put our stockings up with our names on them.
Previous tracking data shows Father Christmas and his sleigh normally reach the UK late on Christmas Eve. Though remember, he'll only stop if you're asleep. Fiona Landon, BBC News.
And we will have a live update before the end of the programme on where Santa and his reindeer are. But in the meantime, it's time to get the news where you are.
And I'm...
Welcome back. Time for us to take a look at the weather. Sarah, question people I suppose will have on their mind is, will it be a white Christmas?
Oh, I know that's a big question, isn't it? Yes, good afternoon to you. For most of us, it probably won't be a white Christmas because the weather is looking predominantly dry. It's certainly going to be cold, so there could well be some frostiness around, but largely dry with a brisk easterly wind developing, some sunshine, some lingering fog in Scotland. There is just a chance we might see the odd snowflake, particularly for parts of Dartmoor, for instance, the Channel Islands as well. But we've got this cold wind coming in from the east or the northeast. That's with us at the moment, and it's certainly made things feel colder than recent days. Some sunshine out there, though, this afternoon, and top temperatures between around about 6 to 9 degrees. So as we head through Christmas Eve evening and overnight, then it's looking mostly dry, lighter winds in the north, decent flying conditions for Santa and his reindeer. Further south, we've got a little bit more cloud, could be some fog patches, but look at these temperatures to start Christmas Day. It is going to be cold and frosty for many of us. Now, through the day, we've got that cold easterly wind once again blowing across southern parts of the UK. There will be some sunshine, chance of some sleetiness for the Channel Islands, perhaps pushing into Dartmoor as well. Temperatures on your thermometer around 6 to 8 degrees, but when you add on that wind chill, it is going to feel closer to freezing, but at least it's looking dry and bright for many of us for Christmas Day. Back to you, Ben.
Okay, Sarah, thank you very much. Right, just before we go, let's take a look at the NORAD tracker to see where Santa is right now. He was recently spotted flying over northern Australia and is now on his way to Indonesia. And back at ground level, more than 500 surfers dressed as the man himself have gathered at Cocoa Beach in Florida for the annual Surfing Santas event. The spectacle started as a family tradition in 2009. It now draws in thousands of spectators every year, spreading Christmas cheer and raising money for local causes. That is all from today's BBC News at 1. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your Christmas Eve. Bye-bye.